Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking a really close look at what might be one of the most intense periods of growth and just devastation in modern fiction.
Yeah.
We're talking about Glinda's transformation into the Good Witch, right at the climax of Wicked.
Mm-hmm. And we're really focusing in on the source material around Wicked for Good because it's so dense.
It really is.
For a lot of people, Glinda is just the bubbly one, the survivor.
After part, yeah.
Exactly. But what the sources show is that her becoming Glinda the Good comes at this incredibly high price. It's just a rapid-fire succession of personal and political collapses that all hit her at once.
All in, what, the span of an afternoon?
Basically, yeah. She goes from being this ultimate golden child to a leader who is just defined by this profound, agonizing loss.
And that's our mission today. We want to unpack that, that pressure cooker scenario. We're going beyond the songs and looking at the real emotional weight of her choices.
And where we start this part of the story, Glinda is still. She's living under this illusion of protection, of privilege.
She believes in the system.
Completely. Only to have this horrifying realization that the world, and especially people she trusted like Madame Morrible, had kept her in the dark far too long.
And that must be devastating. It just pulls the rug out from under her entire reality.
Oh, absolutely. It strips away her whole understanding of the world. She has to grapple with the fact that everything she valued, her status, her engagement, her power, it was all built on a lie.
She was a pawn.
A highly polished pawn, yeah. And this sudden awakening to that betrayal is really the catalyst. It's what forces her into becoming a true leader.
So what's the actual trigger? What sets off this cascade of personal catastrophes?
It starts with the engagement.
The shattered engagement.
The sources are clear on this. The planned wedding between Glinda and Fiyero happens during Wicked for Good. This isn't just some fling. This is Glinda's entire future.
Her whole socially acceptable, perfect future.
And it just implodes. Fiyero leaves her right there at the altar.
Wow. And that personal heartbreak, that humiliation, it's actually what allows her to see the bigger picture clearly, right?
That's the key. Until that moment, she's been a little blinded by her own ambitions, her own privilege. But when Fiyero leaves, she starts to connect the dots on all the smaller betrayals.
Like with Madame Morrible.
Exactly. The source notes her realization that Madame Morrible had never treated Glinda with respect. That personal slight becomes the lens, the lens she uses to see the whole systemic deception.
It's an amazing pivot, really. I mean, her first reaction could have just been self-pity or anger at Fiyero.
And that would be justified. But the narrative shows her focus just instantly shifts outward. She realizes almost immediately that she needed to make sure that Elphaba was okay.
So the collapse of her own life actually frees her to prioritize her best friend.
It does. And that throws her onto this incredibly accelerated timeline. Right after this personal devastation, she has that final, crucial meeting with Elphaba.
This is post No Good Deed.
Post No Good Deed. They both come to this meeting just bruised, desperate, and completely out of time.
And the sources really stress that urgency, don't they? The speed of it all.
Oh, yeah. They describe events as spiraling too quickly. The wizard's forces, Morrible's forces, they're all closing in. And that sense of urgency, it changes everything. It means there's no time for long, drawn-out arguments or apologies.
All the baggage is just gone.
It has to be. All that's left between them is the raw, urgent need to save one of them.
If they'd had more time, maybe they would have hashed out everything with Fiyero, the politics.
But there is no time. So their interaction is stripped down to its core emotional truth, their friendship.
And that's what leads us right into the song For Good and this ultimate act of sacrifice.
The emotional stakes here, as the source material frames it, are just. They're profound. How do you save your best friend knowing that you will have to disappear for the rest of her life?
And Elphaba makes that choice. She decides to disappear to protect Glinda's future, knowing one of them has to survive to carry the truth.
It's the most selfless act in the whole story. And it's formalized when she hands over the grimoire.
Okay, let's pause on that for a second. This isn't just a book.
No. Not at all. It's a transfer of ultimate responsibility, of strategic trust.
And Glinda can't even read it, which seems weird. Why give this incredibly powerful book to someone who can't use its spells?
And that's the genius of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you think about the political landscape, the grimoire is the one thing the wizard and Morrible need to control.
Right.
By giving it to Glinda, who is this non-magical, politically powerful figure, Elphaba is putting it in the safest place possible. Glinda is the perfect vault because she can't use it. She's no magical threat.
And her public position makes her basically untouchable. It's a defensive move.
Precisely. It secures the legacy of the truth. Elphaba trusts Glinda's loyalty and her survival skills more than anyone else's magic.
Which then leads us to the final scene, where Glinda is forced to be a witness.
A clandestine witness. Elphaba hides her in the closet knowing Dorothy is almost there.
So Glinda is there. She watches the whole thing, the bucket of water, the tragedy unfolding from behind a door.
She doesn't just hear about the melting later. She sees it. She sees the horror, the symbolism, and the sources point to that moment when she finally comes out of the closet.
The reflection of the hat.
Yes, the unforgettable image of the hat reflected in the water on the floor. The material calls this a sudden flash of realization and enlightenment.
It's like the old Glinda is washed away in that moment, and this new, profoundly aware Glinda is left standing there.
Alone. She stands alone in a vast world, feeling that weight of solitude.
But the story gives her no time to process. Almost cruelly, the second shock comes immediately.
The rhythmic knocking.
Just as she's processing the death of her best friend, she hears a knocking from the floorboards.
It's Fiyero, materializing from the very ground beneath them. Can you just imagine the emotional whiplash?
It's unthinkable. 1 second, it's absolute tragedy, solitude. The next, the love of her life is emerging, but not as himself.
Not at all. He's transformed. He's the Scarecrow now, wearing this new form like a protective shell.
And the sources say this was a necessary sacrifice.
The only way to save him from a fate much worse than being trapped. The wizard would have tortured him.
So let's sit with that for a second. The density of that moment. Glinda is standing there, holding the grimoire, and processing two giant contradictory facts. Elphaba's apparent death, which she now has to publicly sell.
And at the same time, the shocking revelation of Fiyero's true survival, which she has to privately hide for the rest of her life.
Her world isn't just shattered, it's split. There's the public performance and then the secret, painful reality.
The scale of it is just staggering. She loses her best friend in the most public way possible.
And finds the love of her life transformed and hidden away. One is dead and must be mourned, the other is alive and must be forgotten.
And it is in that exact moment of concentrated trauma that her leadership is demanded. This shattered world demanded her immediate attention, not just to grieve, but to lead.
Okay, so this is the real core of it, right? This is what defines Glinda the Good.
This is everything. She's instantly thrown into a role that demands public stability while her private life is just absolute chaos.
She has to cope with these two huge absences while also being tasked to, rebuild Oz, so to speak.
And that's the paradox of her leadership, isn't it? The source puts it beautifully. How does one lead, inspire, and heal a broken land when her own heart carries such deep private wounds?
She has to project confidence and justice and goodness, all while she's harboring the kingdom's biggest secrets.
And upholding the lie of the Wicked Witch's death, she becomes the central agent of the cover-up.
So every act of leadership she performs actually reinforces the false narrative that got her friend killed.
That's the daily corrosion of her soul. Her leadership becomes this high-stakes performance every single day. And remember the grimoire.
Right.
Her public role as Glinda the Good
Yeah.
is the ultimate shield for that book. She's protecting Elphaba's legacy through political theater.
Her leadership isn't about ambition anymore. It's a mandate rooted in her friendship.
Exactly. The source calls it a daily act of courage, drawing strength from Elphaba. She accepts the mantle of good, not because she's pure, but as a tribute.
She's trying to embody the good that Elphaba always was, but was never seen as?
Yes. She uses the privilege she once just took for granted as a weapon for justice, for stability. She becomes the guardian of a truth she can never, ever speak.
That is just so powerful. Okay, so let's bring this all back for you. We tracked Glinda from the broken engagement, which focused her on Elphaba's safety,
To the final, urgent confrontation, and the handing over of the grimoire, which was about trust and responsibility, not just magic.
and then that climax, the tragedy of the melting, immediately followed by the shocking relief of Fiyero's survival as the Scarecrow.
Which cemented her new role as the Keeper of Secrets. Her story is just this profound illustration that real transformation, real leadership is often forged in an overwhelming personal loss.
She goes from the golden child to the burden-wise guardian in an instant.
Literally an instant.
So what does this all mean for you as you navigate your own world? I think Glinda's journey forces us to look past the titles we're given and see the sacrifices that really define our character. The sources really leave us with this question: how are you changed for good by the people you have lost? And how do you honor their memory by the way you choose to lead, whether that's in a broken land or just in your own life?
Safe travels as you visit the Emerald City. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.